Well, hello everyone. Let me make sure the sound is working.
Well, hello everyone.
Awesome. So, welcome to Market Psychology 101. I think I'm getting the hang of these live streams. I just got to figure out the software on how to hide the tabs, but minor inconvenience will get things dialed in as this channel keeps going. So, only my third ever live stream. I apologize if there's any sound or video troubles. First live, we were cropped out. That was bad, but we're going to be doing some Bitcoin and crypto analysis for any of you live viewers or people who are watching in replay. So thanks so much for being subscribed, watching these videos. Love doing this stuff. And the biggest reason why, there are so many crypto stock YouTube channels that don't answer the most basic questions. Where are we right now? And where are we going? Is this a good time to probably buy or a bad time? What are the odds of getting more value out of where we are at? So I think a lot of channels, they dive too much into the weeds on certain things. I try to keep it simple for the casual minded investor. When I'm talking to any of my friends or people I know about stocks, investing, crypto, there are some very simple questions and thoughts that come up. And that's what I want to explore. Of course, I have a lot deeper knowledge than just what I give you guys, but I think part of it is just how it's verbalized and talked about. So that is my goal. Anyways, let's get into crypto. And first, let's start off with fear and greed, as we always do. CNN still in extreme fear, so there might still be some opportunities out there. But pie vesting, which I like a little bit more, we were down into fear and we just jumped up a little bit. So we're going to watch these trends. As far as crypto fear and greed, we are still in this downtrend. And I'm waiting for this to possibly make some higher highs, higher lows. We'll see what happens from here. How far high it goes, are we going to get back up somewhere in the 80s? I'm not so sure. But if we only get as high as the 60s or so and then drop down again, I think further downside may be coming. Seasonality wise, in September and August tend to be pretty rough times for the markets. I think I read somewhere that there's practically been no new all-time highs made in the markets during the month of July for the stocks. So obviously crypto is not going to be too far off from that. Let's zoom out a little bit on fear and greed for crypto. And this only goes back so far. I wish it went back further during 2017. All we got is 2018. But of course, late 2017, 2018, we would obviously be up here. Those were euphoric times. And my cat's automatic feeder is about to go off, so I hope you're ready for the noise there. But as far as these trends and how high we stay up, this has been the longest amount of time with not going down into fear that we've ever had. This is the second longest amount of time in 2020. Now up here, this is where new all-time highs were being created. If any of you guys watch the rainbow chart videos, I do every Tuesday, trying to be consistent with that. Seems like y'all like those and the Bitcoin mining videos the most. And then I was wondering if it was going to trigger a lot of people, and it did. The video I just did on XRP that made a lot of people upset. But, I'm not here to do these videos for likes and views. I'm here to do these videos to offer analysis. There's my cat's feeder. It's got one of those. It's got one of those automatic dispensers for my cat, and you can record your voice. So that's my robotic voice coming out of this cheap $30 dispenser. My cat loves it though. Anyways, the goal of my channel is not to get likes and views. I don't care if I get paid for this at all. But there is so much scammy FUD out there for crypto. And when I see people buying into these crypto communities like a cult, believing it's going to be worth trillions and quadrillions, there needs to be a voice of reason. And here at Market Psychology, because I've had so much time, knowledge, expertise, wisdom working within the field of psychology, the way I've made money off crypto is by looking at psychology or emotions per se as an indicator and just trying to be data driven. And so when people are attaching their emotions to what they want a price to go to or a market cap, whatever, it's not rooted in reality. And so I'm going to say some things that people might like or not like, and that's okay. Sometimes people need to hear it. But what I want to do more than that, instead of just being edgy and opinionated, that's not how I work within my field of psychology. Where the positives and the good work comes from for my clients is by helping people reflect. So if I see people having these views that are hurting them with investing with crypto, I want to present information in a way, and I know I can do better at this, to help people reflect on why that is. Okay, what data are you seeing to make you believe that? Is that data replicable? Sorry, can't speak right now. Can you replicate that data and show, hey, from previous times, this has happened, and so this is the range of, where I want my investments to go? Because it seems a lot of crypto viewpoints are just, hey, I bought this crypto and I want it to go here and be a millionaire. Okay, we have to go deeper than that. We have to use data and be as reasonable as we can and reflect like, hey, is this realistic? Let's go over into the alt season chart. This is something that I've been reflecting on. Of course, we had massive alt season in late 2017, early 2018. There was a big sell-off here at the beginning of January. But then we had these three spikes. The true alt season and when Bitcoin dominance tanked was right here, and late December, early January of 2017. What I wonder about, though, and I've not been able to find an answer, is as far as this alt season index is concerned, does it take into account all of the alts out there? Because there used to only be hundreds of alts back here. Then there's thousands. Now there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of altcoins. So is this chart being diluted by how many extra alts are out there? I guess here's our answer. So maybe they're only going by the top altcoins and as far as their trends. By the way, isn't this interesting when we look at some of these? And you can't help but notice, oh boy, can't help but notice, man, fetch.ai. Hey, there's AI in the name. It must go up. That's the world of crypto. We're going to take a look at Fetch. Maybe this is at some good deals. IMX, I like IMX as far as what I've researched, but I'll tell you, making money off the crypto world in 2017, 2021, even recently, all because you do your research and like something, does not mean it's going to pan out. So there is luck involved. Link, again, very promising looking altcoin, even Cardano. But what I have noticed, and I hope you guys have noticed this too, if you've been in this market long enough, is that the alts that seem to do the best are the ones that are somewhat newer or part of the next cycle. They weren't big the last cycle, or maybe they're just getting started, but the next cycle they get big. So in that video I just did about XRP, I mean, you could throw Cardano in there. But Bitcoin Cash and others, they didn't do so great in 2021 as they did in 2017. And so, what are the 2021 coins that did great? Are they going to do all right this next cycle? I don't know. I have that question for Doge especially. Is Doge going to only, is it not going to break former all-time highs? Fetch, big correction, maybe we'll get some good value. Matic, man, is that thing falling off. But as far as what's on the upside, sorry, let me hold this. Woo. I have to like hold my mouse over here. We have Pepe and Solana, Floki and Jasmine. Well, and then Fetch too over the last year. Okay. I was lucky enough to get into Jasmine near the lows. Feeling good about that. Near Protocol, INJ. Solana, for all the talk that people do about projects like Cardano and XRP, for how much of a cult following, and that is how those communities are. If you disagree, you're shunned. You can't even have a conversation about why it's not doing well or isn't going to do well. Solana's chart is what I would expect some of these other coins to be. And so sometimes you just got to follow the money and say, hey, what projects have money flowing into them? Where's the volume? Because you can talk about, I don't know, let's say Apple compared to, I don't know, give me any tech company really. Well, people believe in Apple. That's where the money is. So you can tell me your project is super promising, but if it's 1/100th of the size, the market cap, the money flows, that doesn't make much sense. So you have to follow where the money's going. And Solana has been great. Pepe, Pepe and Floki, it's like the new Doge and Shiba this time around. I was wondering if Bonk was going to be up there too. So maybe it's going to be Pepe and Floki. That's crypto, man. You got to wonder, ask yourself, where's this money coming from? Not just retail, but what big whales? Who is putting so much money into these places? And sometimes I think because crypto, you can store your money, and maybe there probably is a lot of illegal transactions going on, but people that they want to put their money somewhere that they don't think many others will, and that's why some of those pump. That's part of my theory. But anyways, alt season, higher low. Hopefully this stays a higher low, but if it starts breaking down, maybe this is going to be a minor peak before hopefully we get one of these all-season peaks soon. We've talked about the rainbow chart, but let's revisit this. Recently, it got down into the accumulate zone. And as far as projections for, let's go to September. We're going to look at the green boxes there, the teal one and the green one. The accumulate zone is between 46 to 80,000. And the still cheap zone, the two green boxes. So if we keep going sideways, I do wonder if maybe during the middle of September, that we get down to the lower end of the accumulate zone, because we are in this downtrend. We were in this in 2019. We were just talking about fear and greed comparisons between 2021, 2019. I'll ignore the COVID black swan event that's right here. But we were in this downtrend. A lot of people are calling it a bull flag, but it started to break up, and then we had a black swan event. So I wonder if without COVID, what would have happened in here? Would we have had this early top and alt season? Or would we have possibly had, I don't know, what could have happened? Were we supposed to go up even earlier? Who knows? But we had low rates on top of stimulus money, and that just pumped everything. I mean, take a look at stocks like Zoom and Pinterest. My God. Crypto is right along with that. And then, of course, we had the Super Bowl commercials for crypto. That always signals the top. But we had this similar downtrend in 2019. We'll take a look at that on the charts. Let's go over to Bitcoin. I have this on the daily right now. Let's go over to the weekly. As far as the weekly, and of course, this is why I put on Heikinashi candles. Candles are right up there. I think it cuts out the noise, shows more of the trends. But one thing you notice, I have on the buy-sell signals and, of course, the moving averages. I also have this fib drawn out, and I don't think that's a perfect fib. Yep, there's a little bit of green above that, so let's get that correct. From the high to the low. And, well, here's a couple things I want to say. At least with these candles, we don't have a full candle body close above the former all-time high. We've wicked above it, but we've been in this downward channel. And we had this doji. You can see right here, this doji. That's basically the market being undecisive, not knowing where it's going to go. But then we got this pretty big red candle. It wicked down to the 786 on the fib, but it had a good bounce. And the 50 moving average on the weekly held up, as well as this lower trend line on this descending channel. I will say, as far as this candle goes, as far as the red candles you can have, this isn't super bearish or as bad as it could be. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another red candle or two on the weekly. That wouldn't shock me if we just settle down here. I want to show you guys something with the RSI. Don't let me forget that. But we still have, I'll take off the buy-sell signals. But we're going to put on the RSI because until we start turning green, we want to look for some hints as far as the strength is going. We have a comment here from Crypto Golfer. Welcome. Thank you for watching and commenting. People complain Solana is a VC coin, but VCs are in the business of making money. You got that right. I'll follow the VCs over meme coin YouTubers all day long. Could not agree more. And plus, meme coins, man, that is a casino right now. And gambling, man, we know why it's an addiction. Again, this is the psychology brain coming in here, guys. When your emotions get so attached to how much money you do or don't make, man, the market, to do well, you have to do the opposite of what your emotions are telling you. Warren Buffett, I mean, it's simple, but it's correct. Be greedy when others are fearful. You know, when the VIX is spiking, where's the opportunities? You guys need to be on the hunt for those. And people with gambling addictions, I mean, when you do these meme coins, I see like people gambling on Solana with these Solana meme coins, and they're looking for that next 5x fix or the next 10x fix. But overall, they'll lose money. So, you know, that's why I talk about dollar cost averaging in. That's why I talk about these fibs, moving averages, buy signals, trying to be smarter of where we can get more value. Because none of us know where the hell this is going. But if we can try to get more value and not be chasing the pumps and buying the fear, I enjoy making money that way. Casinos, I've made money, I've lost money at casinos. I just do it for fun. Always set a budget. I've helped people who have addictions, whether to bad, you know, let's just say risque images on the computer, you know what I mean, or just teenagers addicted to their phones, drugs, alcohol, gambling. I've helped people with a variety of addictions. And when you do that long enough, as I have, you start really seeing how emotion is the tool that we have to separate. We want to use our thoughts to navigate and guide our feelings, not the other way around. A lot of us use our feelings to guide our actions. And that's why I encourage people, you know, try to be patient. Anyways, let's get back into this analysis. RSI, we're weakening. We're under 50. We have not been under 50, a little bit under there here, but it's just bearish, you could say. But we haven't been under there since back here in 23. Kind of similar time, kind of similar. But you can see Bitcoin, when it was breaking above those long moving averages, It held and it kept going. Right now we're at the 50, and for most of the time with assets, the 50, if you're above it, you're still bullish. And we are still above it. Yes, we wicked underneath. I'm talking about closing. We can go back to right here. 2021, when we had the double peak, alt season was here, had a good bounce. But then when we broke under the 50, that orange line, that was all she wrote. So I remember people, YouTubers talking right here about how we're going to get a bounce, we're going to get one more pump of Head and Shoulders, and then we're going down. That was the big narrative at the time. But we got a Quasimodo Hunchback of Notre Dame shoulder right here, and man, not good. So you don't want to get in the game of predicting. You want to just, take the price action as it is. And if you just were following the candles and waiting for confirmation, buy signal or something, well, when it got under the 50, that would have made you more cautious. Like, I'm not sure this is real. Maybe dollar cost average in a little bit, but then that's why you don't go in hard when you get under the 50. Heck, you can even go to the monthly. The monthly will give you clear answers. Let's take off. Promise I'll go back to the RSI. Buy sell signal. This is more of a leading indicator. If you just follow the monthly, like, hey, I'm going to wait. If we're going down a lot, I'm not going to buy till we have a monthly buy signal. We had one here, of course, the final pump. But you wouldn't have bought in till down at the bottom. There's a couple indicators. Well, monthly, look at that. Also bounce off the 100-month moving average. COVID got kind of close on the wick, but otherwise it's been the 50. So if you're under the 50-month moving average, it's great value. That's what I'm looking at. Where's the value? Actually, before I take off the buy-sell signal indicator, Bitcoin on the daily. By the way, this red circle, this is to show that we've had a 30% drop. We've had like 5 or 6 20-ish% drops. Show you that right here. Around 24%. We've had a bunch of these. 20%. Up here, it's around 20-ish%. Okay, there's been a bunch of 20% drops. That's something to pay attention to, guys, for any chart. What is the percent of correction it typically has, and what moving averages does it typically go to? At least on the weekly, Bitcoin, once it's turned bullish, I guess you could say 20. Maybe we have to go to the daily. The daily, man, it's like the 100, but now it's broken underneath. And now the 100 is resistance. So yeah, Bitcoin is like this 100 level a couple times. I'd say that's more of the key. We've gotten underneath it. Man, crypto is so volatile. Keeps you on your toes. A lot of the big stocks, they don't do this. So people just are buying in the deeper value. But look at that, it wicked right off the 100. So are we going to get a correction? Maybe get back down to here and then blast off. That's kind of what I'm looking for. However, there is some bullish cases that I'm looking for as well. And that's with the RSI. On the daily, you can see the RSI, the dips. It was getting lower. Price is getting lower. From the peak, it's minor here. But you see how the price is lower? The overall price went lower, but the peak went higher. Now look at this. See how the bottom of the price went lower, but the dips of the RSI went higher? Well, that's two ways of saying there's bullish divergence. So if we did blast up back to the trend line, the upper end of the channel, I wouldn't be surprised. And it is getting above that yellow line. People are talking about, is this a V bottom reversal? It could be. I kind of hope not. I'm going to be patient regardless. Now, when it gets down here, yes, you can dollar cost average and try not to miss it. But are we going to break through this? Meet where the trend line, where the channel converges, blast up to 83K, 100K. By the way, this trend line, I just drew this once because I saw, this Bitcoin seems to be on a certain angle here, and you can't help but notice that this trend line, it's been bouncing off of it, coming back up to it, snaking around this trend line. And so anytime we get very far from the trend line, we come back to it. Got very far from it. Sure, that's close to the bull market support band too. So we have bullish divergence here. Additionally, I'm just talking short term, Bitcoin dominance, speaking of trend lines, I hit a couple that I like. Let's go to the weekly here. And by the way, Bitcoin dominance, look what moving average it likes, that little red line. That's the 20. So if I had a favorite stock that was doing this, I'd be very happy. Because anytime stocks slowly grind up, they tend to have a bit of a pop off sometime and then come down. And so I'm waiting for Bitcoin dominance to have a pop off. And you can see from the peaks here, see that, guys? Lower peak, lower peak. We'll see where this one finishes. If it gets higher, that invalidates this. But if it ends here, somewhere around 75 or, anything under the high 70s, we have bearish divergence on dominance. And when we have dominance going higher, but the strength lowering, that's bearish divergence. Now, that can take a while to play out. But this red line, to me, I think we might get up here somewhere around 60 and then drop off. I have these two trend lines converging, from 2018, from all these points, but especially the base and the peak of Bitcoin dominance. They converge here around 58%. We've hit that. We've started going above it. So I'm not sure how much higher it goes, maybe somewhere like 60. But once Bitcoin dominance drops, if you're new to crypto here, look at the dates at the bottom. Mid-December to, it was here. I remember January 8th very vividly because I was in Tron, DNT, some other coins. And Tron, for me, God, I bought it at 20% of a cent and it jumped up to like 25, 30 cents, which is insane. I had a lot of money. And then I was like, so greedy. Like, oh, this is going to keep going up. And then it started dying. I did get massive profits regardless, even though I didn't sell the top because I was being a greedy bastard. But that was an expensive learning experience. Still made money, but man. But anyways, dominance dropped, altcoins ran. 2021, when dominance tanked from early April to early May, it was May 10th, that's when altcoins were running. That was alt season. And also the tops. We did have that double top. It was November. I think there was, in here when dominance was tanking, there were coins like Matic and others that I believe were topping around that time. But I tell you what, if any of my altcoins, like let's replicate the data. Let's say dominance gets up here. If dominance falls, not doing one of these, where it just comes down to some support and then shoots up higher. I mean, that's possible. If we're not going to get a cycle top in another 3 years or something, I don't know. But if dominance is all of a sudden in the tank within a month, let's say later this year, early next year, and I have altcoins doing a 10x, 20x, I'm selling those. That's the lesson I've learned. But we'll see. If I have some altcoins that really haven't done anything, I might, take some profits, but hold on to them, in case we do get that double top like this. But I'm wondering, if we are truly, going back to Bitcoin, forming a bull flag here and then we're going to shoot up. So right now, just looking at the data right now, where are we right now? We are getting a little extended from this 20-week moving average. And when we come back down to it, sometimes price goes down for Bitcoin. Sometimes we have price doing well for Bitcoin. So we tend to be bullish when it comes down. But yeah, we want to be careful here. Okay, all because it's extended, we get these false senses of hope every time. Let's go over to tether dominance. This has been my base case. And by the way, we have this trend line. Let me hide the moving averages. We have this trend line from the dips of tether dominance, which tend to be tops. 2019 mid-cycle top, the top before the COVID dump. This was the Bitcoin top and alt season in early 2021. By the way, look at the RSI. When the RSI is under 50 and stays there, it tends to be a good time. Okay. We got deep underneath there. So from where, I wanted to draw a fib here. I was curious about it. It's like, okay, from where we are and where we are going. Just drew a fib from the height of the low. And I've seen this happen inversely on so many other assets where after it dies down, it tests the 50 and then comes back down. I wonder if something like that's happening here. Wicked up to it. But as far as the candle body, it's staying under this 382. If this was an asset, I would say, oh, that's bearish because it's under 382. If it was steadily above it, then it's possible we might shoot up higher again. So if it is bearish and we get a little pullback, maybe it spikes up to the 0.5. I don't know. It's kind of what I'm thinking might happen. Get up to the 0.5, get that 50% correction, and then die. Or get, make up 50% of it, I should say. And yeah, that's what I think might happen. Let's go over to the 30% corrections here. I think it'd be better if I put this on the weekly, the log. Let's add on our moving averages, all that good stuff. Do we need the RSI in this? Nah, we talked about the RSI. So we had a 30% correction here. The height of the low, 30%. We're very close to it. See it right there. I was thinking, when has this happened before? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20-ish% corrections. Now we got 30%. Like outside of the bear market, obviously, before we ran up. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, did this happen in 2019? And I didn't highlight the COVID dump because, look there, that's 20%. Because the COVID dump, to me, that's a black swan event. Maybe we would have had another 30% correction regardless, even if COVID didn't happen. And that would have brought us down to the 100-week moving average again. Okay, so maybe that wouldn't have, maybe we would have had this, another 30%. But there were 4 30% corrections from the peak. Wicked up somewhere around 14K, down. Wicked up, down. I can go on the daily. I can show you even more accurately. Let's do that. So, %30 there. Obviously, you guys can just see. I don't have to measure each one out. But we had these 30% dumps, albeit there were 4 of them. Now, every cycle is a little different as far as the corrections. I remember going through here, and this is the 2017 bull run. I remember going through here as like, what were the corrections? We've had 20% corrections, but 2017, man, I really like those 30% corrections. This one looks even bigger. Yeah, but 30%, from where it based out. 22, and then boom. Here I think you can't, this is where a lot of crypto YouTubers get in trouble. They think because something happened before, it has to happen again. But each cycle is a little different. So this cycle is like the 20% corrections. And 2017 cycle, like the 30% corrections. I mean, even on the way up, what were these corrections? 20%, okay? This one looks bigger, around 30. So are we just getting one big correction before going up. I don't know. But you can see here on the fib, man, at least we're not going from the true top to bottom, but from this bottom to top, all the way up, and then a 0.5 correction. Of course, the weekly, I think, shows it better. From the bottom to that top. Remember what I was talking about with the 0.5? 0.5 gave a good base. A lot of people like it staying up here around the 38% mark. And I get why. Crypto it tends to be a little more volatile, so it doesn't follow the rules of everything else stock-wise. Let me hydrate here for a second. But look at that. It came down to the 100-week moving average. Once, twice. Again, let's say we didn't get COVID. Does this happen? I don't know. Maybe we get one more. But the 100 weeks, as low as it got, it tested the 50. And then it started to go sideways for a bit. We had the halving, and then when it was truly going up, breaking new all-time highs, that's what this yellow line is. And so one area I've been watching that I wonder if we are going to get down to, I think this area would, for me personally, not financial advice for you, but if it did get down here, I think it would be a possible macro low for crypto. Now, before I say why or if I would go in, again, guys, you have to look at what the markets overall are doing. If all the markets are going down and we're dying and we're going into a recession, throw what I'm about to say into the garbage. Okay? Well, you should take anything I say with a grain of salt. But look at all this price action right here. This is the most support that we have price action-wise. And we have the 100-week moving average. And so I do wonder if we are going to get one big flush down to this area. Not that we have to, but if that happened, that would be too juicy for me to ignore as far as deep value for crypto. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if it's going to possibly wick down to, if we're playing the what if game, maybe by that time the 200-week moving average is up near the 618. Let's say this does happen and wicks down here. I'm going in hard. And if it goes down lower, I'm putting in even more. That's part of my budgeted plan. Again, make your own plan. Make it ahead of time so when these things happen, you know what to do, and you don't let your emotions, your fear, your doubt, your greed get in the way. Whether it's up here, down here, whatever. When this happened, I was talking about this as a possibility for a while in the videos. And so when it happened, I was ready. It's like, oh, we're at the 50 week. We're at the lower end of the channel. Great dollar cost average opportunity. I don't know if it's going to go lower. That's part of my plan, though. If it does, I can add in more value or more money from my budget, money I've saved up, so I can catch those deeper moments. That's why you have to make a plan when things are boring and sideways. So when we do get these big whoop, you know what to do. NVIDIA, man, when that thing was blasting off, I was able to sell into the top, into the stock split. I got a bunch of NVIDIA down here on those macro buy signals. And when it was running up past, I had a big macro fib. When it was breaking all those and the stock split, I was able to sell the local top. I don't care if it goes higher. The way I look at it, and NVIDIA is acting like a crypto, went up 1,200% inside of 2 years. That's not sustainable. I don't care if it goes up 1,500%. It already has a market cap around $3 trillion. I'm good. I'm done. It's part of my plan. I'll wait for better value later on. That's why Warren Buffett just sold half of his Apple stock. It's like, I love Apple, but for the value I believe I'm going to get out of this in the short, medium term, it's not worth the PE ratio, how overvalued it is. And so with crypto here, if it goes down to any of these levels, let's say 200, 618, around 39, or the 100 week and all this price action around 44, 45. These numbers are always changing as time goes on. You have to have a plan now to be ready to go in. Inversely, let's say we start snapping out of this bull flag, getting up to this trend line and going beyond. You have to have a plan for what to do at that time too. Let's take a look at those price targets again. Go back to the rainbow chart because I know people here love the rainbow chart. When we take our macro fib off log, it shows us price targets. We have the 1618 at around 100K. And what I like about this 1618 fib target is when you, there's a couple reasons why. But one, we can take this trend line. I'll try to not screw it up too much. Let's make sure we get this correct so it's so it's as accurate as possible. Okay, kind of accurate. I just have to correct it a little bit. Come on now. Come here, boy. Here we go. Let's go back out to the weekly. We have a bit of confluence right here at the 1618 at around 100K. The peaks, when you draw them out, and again, these lines are not perfect, but it's interesting to me how we have things converging here. We have the peaks, and this trend line comes out here, and it meets where this trend line that Bitcoin has been snaking around comes up to. And it meets where the 1618 fib meets. And you know where they all converge? This is funny to me. They all converge around this green line I put in later this year. When you take all the cycles and you average from when Bitcoin is breaking and making new all-time highs, you see I put the yellow line there, when we got above this gray line, which was the former all-time high, when we broke it, if you take the average amount of days from a new all-time high to the next peak, you get 300. That 300 days from that new all-time high is over here in December. That's the average, and I factored in all the cycles before. So when crypto, Bitcoin, was breaking this all-time high, how long from here to this peak? Okay, when it was breaking the all-time high somewhere around here, how long from here to the peak? December 2020, how long from here to the peak? This was the true peak that cycle. You average that out, that's 300 days. That's where we get later this year. And again, this is just a guide or a tool. It might be 3 months after, it might be 8 months after, I don't know. But it's just something I notice, and we have so much convergence there at that 100K mark. We have the fib extension, we have the peaks, this trend line meeting there, we have from the current cycle, and they all meet at this point, which lines up with the average amount of days from the halving. So by the end of this year, I am going to be really curious. I mean, Bitcoin might be down here for all we know, and then we can throw all this out and say, nope. But if this does happen, I'm going to be curious to see where Bitcoin dominance is. Is Bitcoin dominance tanking? Is it still up? What is going to happen at the end of this year? Is that going to be the start of the bull run, the end of the bull run? Is it going to be dead and everything I just said didn't matter? But this is part of planning ahead, guys, and being ready for possibilities. In the last 10, 15 minutes, I've talked with you about bearish possibilities to be ready for, because August, September tend to be red and bad for crypto. So we talked about possibilities to be ready for there, and we talked about bullish possibilities to be ready for up here. And I think you have to look at those possibilities before they happen so you know what to do when they get there. You can make your plan right now. And that way, you know, if you're emotional down here, you're feeling like shit and crummy because, man, crypto, it got up to 75K, came down to 40K. This sucks. My altcoins suck. That's the way dumb money in retail. That's what they call it, by the way, not my phrasing. That's the way people often feel. Well, this sucks out. My crypto portfolio is down. I'm not going to pay attention anymore. It's too painful. When those are the times you want to put in more. Again, that's why I say every video at the beginning, look for opportunities where there's fear. If there's fear and things suck, you have to be ready for that. More ready for that down here. As well as, if we get up here and all that greed's coming in and you're feeling like I did back in 2017 at this peak where you bought a coin. I bought Tron, it did a frickin' 1000x, 2000x. Ridiculous, by the way. And you're like, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to keep holding on to this. Like the Doge guy did. There's a guy who was a Dogecoin millionaire, didn't sell. I wasn't a millionaire, by the way, so, but you can look at this and be like, you know what? It's hit my targets. Things are green right now. I'm selling. I'm taking profits. You have to have a plan because if that greed starts seeping in and you're like, you know what? I know I was going to sell here, but I'm not going to. Bitcoin dominance, it's tanked down to the low 40s, just like Mr. Market Psychology crypto YouTuber said, but I'm not gonna sell. All these, the writing's on the wall, but nah, I'm feeling greedy. Oh my God. That's why we plan to death right now, so you guys are ready for this. By the way, if you're curious about the 2618 fib extension at 150-ish K, that would make the market cap, well, we can kind of do it right here. That's 2.5 times this. So if you multiply the current market cap times 2.5, around there, we're around $3 trillion for Bitcoin if it gets up here. The reason why that's very interesting to me is because that has been the market cap the last couple of years, or the top market cap for the top stocks like Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft. The 3 trillion number is a magic number. And by the way, I got a lot of flack for this in my XRP video where people are like, oh, the market cap argument. You can't use market cap for predictions. I half agree. For one reason, because we always have inflation, so market cap. I remember when people were saying that Microsoft, all these at 1 trillion. I remember when 1 trillion was a big mental barrier. Like nothing's going to be worth $1 trillion, and now we have things worth $3 trillion. So inflation organically raises the market cap. I fully agree. However, market cap is a real thing that exists, and you can't ignore it, and you can't make bogus claims that this $35 billion asset is going to be worth as much as Apple or worth 2.5 times as much as Bitcoin. People are talking about, I do not understand. Well, I do understand, but people are talking about Ripple. They're like, it's not a token. It's a currency, bro. It's going to be worth 1 quadrillion market cap. No, it is not. You would need to have that much money in there. And I talked about this in the video. BlackRock, all because they manage tens of trillions, BlackRock's stock is in the hundreds of billions or something like that. All because Bank of America, Wells Fargo manages trillions does not make them worth that much. And there's not going to be a quadrillion dollars through Ripple unless rich aliens all of a sudden show up and they're like, yeah, we're going to use this thing called Ripple to exchange money with you. Here's $1 quadrillion. And it's not going to happen. And you can look at the chart. The chart looks like crap too. If Ripple had all this potential, the chart would look a lot better. It's as simple as that. Jackson Vinas, finally found you, buddy. Hello, welcome to the channel. Finally found me. Jackson, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thanks for your support, helping us out. Happy to do it. I mentioned this at the start of the video, but I'll repeat it again. I find so many crypto channels out there and content to be driven by emotion and scams, shilling and FUD. And because I work in the field of psychology, have for over a decade, have a master's, all that experience, wisdom, it makes me cringe seeing people get manipulated and losing their money. That's why I'll keep saying I don't care about the views, the likes. If I ever make money off YouTube, what I do care about is just simple questions that friends and family ask. I have a coworker, they bought the top of Bitcoin back here, and I wish I would have talked to her back then. She's like, yeah, I bought Bitcoin back here. And I'm like, oh my God. People fall into these emotional traps and they love buying the hype. And I saved a friend. If you guys were here in crypto in 2017, we were somewhere in here. It seemed like it was going up forever. A buddy of mine was about to put $10,000 into BitConnect. If you don't know what BitConnect is, search up BitConnect. There's great videos out there. I think John Oliver did it at the time. But I told him, hey, I did my research. This looks very scammy. The people talk about it like they're in a cult, like a religious cult. I would not put my money in there. And I kid you not, like 2 weeks later is when all this stuff was coming out about the pyramid scheme, the scamminess. So I felt really proud that I saved my friend from losing $10,000. And so I'm going to give it to people honestly here. I don't care if you love something that's an asset. Like, what are you doing? This is crypto. You got to look at it without the emotion and step back. If you're that bought into it, like you're in a religion or a cult, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I'm going to be honest about any coin, and that's why we look at the data, look at the charts, try to remove our emotion. Thanks for your support. Yeah, you said just right. I just got in now. What's your prediction for the rest of the month? Miners will drop more? Ooh, great question. Let's look at a couple miners because, well, Jackson, part of my plan here, I talk about how we have these good value support levels here for Bitcoin, and miners follow what Bitcoin's doing. And by the way, one reason I love miners is because there are thousands, tens of thousands of altcoins coming out that can't be regulated. They might be a meme or a scam or whatever. They might be legit. Most of them aren't. They're just pump and dump scams. But what I like about miners is they're stocks, and there's only so many of them. And it reminds me of the altcoin situation more so, even though there's just hundreds back here, but even more so of 2017 where there's only so many to choose from. And you know what's great about miners? We can look at their freaking balance sheet, man. Very simple. Assets to liabilities. Look at this. Total liabilities. This is Cypher. I had this up for Wednesday's video. Total liabilities, 100 million. Total assets, 600 million. If you find any of the top stocks with around a 2-to-1 ratio, that's amazing. 6-to-1, I like that regardless. And it's funny to me how every time Bitcoin goes down, I see articles by CNBC or others pop up like, oh, miners are going to make half the amount of money because of Bitcoin halving. But then when it's bullish, the articles say, well, because there's half amount mined, it creates a supply crunch, which drives up the value. It's like, make up your damn minds. What I see here, a 6-to-1 ratio, that's good. So, Jackson, sorry, you know how I can go on stupid tangents. We have to dynamically look at value down here. Here's kind of my base case. This would be absolute worst case, but if you have a budget, be ready to budget in more at these lower prices. I have 40,000 buying power, thinking about Wolf. Quarter results come up Monday. What are your thoughts? Well, let's get into miners, actually. That's, part of the reason I do my mining stock videos on all the miners is because you have to watch what the overall market is doing. If all the miners are going down but one randomly pops off, you want to be a little hesitant or suspect of it because the market action, the price action trumps everything. It's the same with stock splits. People talk about stock splits being bullish or bearish. It really doesn't matter unless you look at, what's the market doing? What's the overall market? Is the market bullish or bearish? If the market's bearish and there's a stock split, well, guess what? It's going to be a bearish stock split. So let's just kind of go through the list. I promise you I'll get to Wolf. Good value right here on Mara. Higher market cap, 4.86. I love your Wolf. Sorry. We'll get the Wolf, I promise you. By the way, the reason I look at this is, where was the market cap back here when it peaked? So 83 divided by 17, well, it's about a little over a 4x. So we were in the 20 billions. This is why we use market cap kind of as a target. And so conservatively speaking, this is not even thinking that we might make new all-time highs. Conservatively, 20 to 30 billion as market cap targets for some of the others. Okay. Where was Riot's market cap? Riot's market cap back here, well, it got up to 80. It was about a 10x, 10 times 2.5 billion, 25 billion. Okay. Riot, by the way, not as strong of a looking chart, but my God, great value here. I like the value of Riot, but you could call this a bull flag. Like, this looks a lot like what Bitcoin's doing. Again, I'm getting to Wolf, but we're trying to paint a picture here. We have CleanSpark. I'm going to look at CleanSpark, Cypher, and then Wolf. CleanSpark, man, this kind of reminds me of Chainlink, the altcoin. It's sitting at that 100-week. Hopefully it holds. We have price action. If not, 0.5 is probably next for CleanSpark. Okay? But we have overall bearishness, but finding support, that's good. We'll go to Cypher and then Wolf. Cypher, man, look at all that good support. Cypher is one of my favorites as far as chart and price action, and I just showed you the balance sheet. I love Cypher here. And market cap, if it got to the 20 to 30 billion mark, if we get a bull run or another cycle, again, no guarantees. I don't know if we're going to get a recession from right now or not. So I'm not saying it will happen, but if we get another one of these, loving this value, and I would not be shocked to see this possibly 20x from here. My God. But again, I try to catch myself saying that out loud. Oh, yeah, this could 20x. Well, maybe. We could do the magic with the fib lines and everything, but 10 to 20x, I'd be happy with that. And that's just like my most bullish scenario target should that happen. Let's get in the Wolf. Let's dissect Wolf for you. Ooh. Okay, what do we see here? So Wolf, man, I love how Wolf was up here at 40. I was looking at when I was first buying Wolf, and I was getting at the mid to high $1 range, like on these dips as we start going back up. And then we had this wedge broke out. But that 200-week moving average couldn't get over it. We had this pyramid of wicks showing resistance. 200, very good move. Broke out of this wedge, great move. And now it's come back down to earth. But look at this. It wicked down, candle body wise to the 100, wick to the 382 and the 50. So that's good. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what Bitcoin just did, again, movement-wise. And look at the market cap on this one. I mean, we've been talking about, IN 20. And again, as far as my plan, if I had 40,000 and by the way, diversify, of course, as far as not just Bitcoin miners, but risky crypto assets as well. I read on Twitter, or X now, earlier this week, some guy had 90% of his money all in this one crypto. He was up millions, and then it just rug pulled. One of those Solana, so diversify. It's okay if one of your coins or cryptos does a 2x, another one does a 20x, and all that is only, I don't know, 10 to 20% of your portfolio. Obviously, you're going to take your own risks. Well, we all have a different risk threshold. But me personally, I would diversify across miners, and not just miners, other cryptos too. Because what if the whole mining sector becomes bearish? You don't want to be trapped completely in miners. But that aside, I like this as support for Wolf. I want to see it stay above here. The fact it broke out of the 382 and this wedge, and it's above the 50, it has to stay above here, in my opinion. If not, this thing could be going back down again. Probably around the mid $2. This is like most bearish scenario, probably the mid $1 area to $2. So all this over here, but it held up pretty well. All this over here kind of has to hold. Maybe it would get down to the wedge. Even if it got to $2 like a wick there, I wouldn't be worried unless it was breaking underneath this right here, But if it came, let's say a candle body close here and it wicked down, you could see it bouncing from there. But man, I like a lot of TeraWolf on the chart. I operate through stocks only, trying to get away from taxes in Brazil. Hey, we got a viewer from Brazil. Man, so happy you're here. I love Brazil, by the way. Went to Brazil years ago, surfed in a place called Florianopolis. Great freaking city. I don't talk about it too much, but it was just, it was away from the big cities. Liked Rio, all that. Went down to Iguazu Falls. But Florianopolis, man, if you're into surfing, that place freaking rocks. Yeah, let's zoom in. Let's zoom out first, then zoom in. Man, look at this junk. Top back here. Top tier. And okay, 21. So this was, by the way, this is good to know. 2021, that you see that date, November? Top tier. All season was truly here. And so this was one of those late bloomers that topped in November. Would I wait a couple weeks? I mean, I think dollar cost averaging in what you're comfortable with. Like if you're, I don't know what your plan is. If you're looking at the long-term cycle perspective and you're waiting for it to get up here or within, perfect girls, you got that right. If you're waiting for it to get up here or, in that 20 billion range market cap wise, it's not horrible here. You're finding good value. I wanted to go over to the daily. Okay. So I think here it's okay. Let's throw on the buy sell signal indicator. We did get a daily on the buy because even though it wicked all the way down here, and yes, it sucks to miss out on this if you didn't have a buy order, where is it finding support? Right here. And instead of support right at 356, you're at 382. So if you're looking from a cycle perspective and all you care about is selling as we're ripping up to the top of the cycle, if that happens, again, nothing's financial advice, but if that's part of your plan, good value here. I mean, you're getting from this most recent top, somewhere around a 40% discount, so that's, I look at this sometimes this way. Yes, it sucks not buying bottoms, but we never truly, I don't try to advise people to time bottoms. If all of a sudden we have a major sell-off and you're like, I'm going to DCA at a certain level where I see fib or moving average support, I'm going to set a buy order, for right here, 284. And if it hits, cool. If not, whatever. I'll set another buy order for 291. If it hits, cool. If not, whatever. It's really hard to time bottoms. And also, it could keep going through. But right here, I like how there's some structure. Now, big move down. It's probably going to, what I often see happen, unless it's a V recovery, of course, what I see more often is big move down, kind of a move up and then down again, form a base. But if it is a V recovery, then I would dollar cost average in, me personally, not telling you what to do. I would dollar cost average in a little here. But again, I don't know what your game plan is. If you're more of a trader, an investor, a trade vestor, if you're trying to work the cycle, as I talk about in my videos, I don't know what your overall goal is. If you're more of a trader, you need to be ready to watch these moving averages and fib support. And traders, they also look at shorter time frames. I mean, when we zoom in, you can see, hey, we're in the 1 hour time frame, there's resistance. So you want to see it break through. Kind of funny, I didn't even mean to look at that one, but it's showing, yeah, 1 hour time frame. It's kind of showing why we're where we are at. But it's making higher highs, higher lows. And this is the first, think of it this way, this is the first uptrend we had since the sell-off. And you didn't get it here at 345, but again, we're pinching pennies here. So I like Wolf here. If I'm willing to be more patient, I'd wait for, well, the daily just got a buy signal. If you're waiting to be more patient, you can wait for the weekly to confirm that we're going up. But again, can I go back far enough here to show something? Something like this, not a good example. Something like this could happen, though, where, we had a big sell-off, and they're like, okay, green, weekly, buy signal, and then boom, we get a 3-wave movement down. So do know that's possible. One of the buy-sell signals I like, and do know that, this one's a good leading indicator, this 1020 MA on TradingView. But if you want more of a lagging indicator, a confirming indicator, UT bot alerts is pretty good. Does it give it on the daily? Not yet, okay? But do know that with this lagging indicator, UT bot alerts for buy-sell, you're going to miss out on a little bit more of that deep value, but that's okay. If you don't want to take as much risk and you want more of a confirmation, then you would wait for that signal to pop up. Now, me personally, I go by the weekly. The daily, only in some circumstances. If we are in a bear market, I go by the monthly. And I'll go to Bitcoin to show you why. We only have so many of these. And there's only been one bad one here, but you know what? Like, who in their right mind would buy this after Bitcoin already ran up 500%? That's my thought. Like, you'd have to be greedy. I think the writing would be on the wall. Bitcoin dominance tanked here. So we already had alt season. Yes, some alts, some miners ran here. So I would not be buying this one. I think, you kind of have to read the room. But if you just set the monthly, look at these opportunities. Monthly. We're still green technically with this buy-sell signal indicator with the Heikin-Ashi. So, at least on the monthly. And as far as bearishness goes, if we go to the S&P, like this applies to crypto and everything. You go to the S&P, yes, you're going to miss out on a certain percent of value, but this will help remove risk. Let's go back to the great financial crisis, the dot-com bubble. Only a couple times are you losing value, but if you went by the sell signal. So sometimes you have to zoom out, and yes, you might miss out on an extra 20 to 40% profit. I am okay with that, me personally, as long as I make profit. Like, that's what I care about overall. We can play the game of woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, oh, I wish I would add that extra 50%. Well, you made money. Like, that's all that matters. So, kind of getting back to your point, what you're wanting to do. Again, we have to take a look at what the markets are doing. And for me personally, Yes, this could be a V-shaped recovery. It might be. I dollar cost average in down here because it smacked the 50 and the lower end of the channel. I did buy some Cypher because I love Cypher and its value it's at. Again, I don't know if it goes lower. I don't care. I liked where it hit. But I'm waiting for the weekly to have a turnaround. And it's possible by the time it does and prints another buy signal. I mean, look at that. If you bought this buy signal, whoop! Bad buy signal. Bad. So do know these indicators. TA is not everything. We try to have as many tools in our tool belt as possible, so we don't fall for stuff like this. Hey, buy signal, we're going to all-time highs. There's a lot of people who got tricked here. We had a doji. What I will say, hopium-wise, is candles at the 786 fib. We had good support off the 50 and the channel. So, actually, I got to put my fib back. I'm lying to you guys. Got to put it back on a log scale. But yeah, it did have good support there. So, you got to go the way Bitcoin's going. Right now, at least on the weekly, we don't have confirmation yet. But if you dollar cost average here, I don't hate it. I wouldn't be throwing the farm at it personally. But I say that, now watch it have a V recovery, and, that'd be the lowest price forever. But again, it's like we don't know. We don't know. So you have to make your own plan. And so you're ready to execute your plan regardless of whatever your emotions are telling you, whatever it is. But yeah, thanks for the comments. I see we have 7 people watching. Thank you all for watching. Any other questions about any altcoins or Bitcoin miners? And by the way, I look at altcoins on Coinbase and Robinhood. So if you're going to ask me about a Solana meme coin, sorry, we're going to move past that. I'll open it up for any questions, thoughts. But it's been, I want to do more live streams on these Fridays. I think some of these Fridays are going to be live stream days. I appreciate all you guys coming by. If any of you are regular viewers, again, thank you for watching. Do you believe that's a good chance that Bitcoin will reach 100K by November? That's part of my base case. I don't want to get into, saying whether I believe it or not, but I think there's signs on the wall. And I'll summarize as quick as we can here, because maybe you missed this part of the video. We have the 1618 at 100K, which extends out to here. We have the trend line from the 2 peaks in 21 extending out to here. We have this trend line Bitcoin's been honoring, snaking around, going up to here. And then we have, so a lot of confluence here, and it all meets at this green line, which is the average from when Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, this yellow line, to the next peak. That average is around 300 days, and there's a lot of confluence right here at the end of this year. You can see right there, December, late December. So all because I drew all these lines and there's this coincidence doesn't mean it has to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. Would I like it to? Yes. Am I ready for it? If it does happen, yes. But I'm also ready for if bearish scenarios play out. September is usually bearish, so we might have another month of bearishness. For crypto, overall, September tends to suck. October is kind of when things start to, go back up. But again, every time's different. We don't know what's going to happen, especially with the Fed talking about rate cuts. That adds more volatility in the market. So we might, but, if we do have an early cycle top here, I'm ready for it. And if not, well, I'll just dollar cost average in. And I don't care if I have to wait till 2026, 2028, it's all part of my plan. Would it suck if we didn't get a cycle top, for this year and the 4-year cycle and all that, because it's an average of 4 years? Would that suck? Yes. However, I've made my decision, my choice, part of my plan that I don't care when it happens, but I'll be ready for it if it happens. You know, I don't want to say, yes, I believe it, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is and I have skin in the game. Sometimes it's as good as we can do. So, election is coming up and a lot of craziness going on. Yes. Yes, 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 but you want to, sometimes remember the news kind of follows the charts. That's an expression. Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. There's going to be more volatility because the election. There's every election year there's increased volatility. We just had the biggest spike in volatility, since COVID and the great financial crisis, by the way. So before I talk about why this has me worried, but yeah, there's going to be increased volatility, especially with rate cuts. Rate cuts, which, by the way, I'll just go to the S&P 500. Rate cuts are these red lines. And you can see great financial crisis. We still went up a little bit before going down for a couple of years, this dot-com bubble. But COVID, it still went up. I saw a chart somewhere, it averaged it out that you kind of get an idea of if things are going up or down within a 2 to 4 month range after the price cut. Now, typically, with the yield curve on inversion, a recession, when this uninverts gets above, a recession is in the future, but not right as it uninverts, but maybe a year later, something like that. But yeah, there's more volatility. What I wanted to talk about here with the VIX, one of my fun little side hobbies or interests is geology. And sometimes when there is a decent sized earthquake in an area, it can precede a bigger one coming. And there have been times in the past where we get these VIX spikes, things get quiet, and then boom. So 2018, 2019, I remember people talking about recession. And then it got quiet, and then boom. So I do wonder about that. 2008, you see these VIX spikes to the mid-30s. And then boom, ran up. So I'm wondering, are we going to get a couple spikes and then boom, sometime later next year? Be right back. Give me 30 seconds. All right, I'm back. So, I don't think, oftentimes when we have these VIX spikes, the big ones, they tend to be the bottoms of the market or close to it or leading up to it. And obviously that has not happened yet. This is just at least for the S&P, around a 10% correction, which you can expect one or two of those a year on average, probably. I think it's somewhere around 1 to 2 of those. But with the Fed, about the cut rates, they don't do it to be nice. They do it because something's broken. Real estate the situation's bad in China. The commercial real estate situation's bad here. We have the yen carry trade unwinding. And who knows? When I look at this, how long the yield's been uninverted, it leads me to believe a good size recession is coming. Now, that doesn't mean we can't still make 40, 50% profits until it rolls over, but with crypto, that's the game we play. I'll show you. These green lines, by the way, are the tops for crypto. Remember how we had that double top? here, those tops, whoop, wrong chart, wrong page. Those tops were here. And then the market fell off to the tune of 27%. The top in 2017 for crypto, right before we started to go sideways. It still went up, but you'd say the market was great. We had the crypto top, stock top, and then sideways crash. Here it's more interesting, but I think crypto wasn't as big back then, and that's part of why we have these tops. Well, the 2011 top, yes, fell over. But here, crypto, the market still went up. But I don't know. I don't really consider those as much. So, hey, man, could you look at the Gary network? Gary from SpongeBob? Gary network. Hope this is the right one. Oh, boy. If this is the right one, this looks like crap. I mean, we're hitting the lows and making newer lows. Let me know in the comments, is this the right one? The fact that it made a new lower low, I do not like that, if this is the correct one. Yeah, but if you're recently making a lower low, yes, I know you want value, but to me that's bearish. Heck, we could even throw on the RSI. I don't think this is a Coinbase coin. RSI, you could say, okay, on the weekly, there's bullish divergence, because higher dip in the RSI, lower price, but man, where's the base? This is a newer coin. I wouldn't touch it, but yeah, there's bullish divergence. That's the one bullish thing you could look at here. Not a lot here to chart either. Ugh. Yeah, but if it eventually did get back up above this 382 around 48, 49 cents, then that'd be somewhat promising. But yeah, me personally, I'm not touching that piece of crap. I don't know anything about it, but chart doesn't look good. Are we really gonna end it there, guys? Come on. Any Coinbase altcoins that you guys would like for me to take a look at? I'll give you a couple more minutes here. Or any miners. I'll do one or two more if anyone has a request. Happy to do it. Let me hydrate. How long have I been talking for here? Almost an hour and a half. Okay, yeah, we'll be wrapping it up here pretty soon. But I'll open it up for one or two more requests based on how the comments go. Any Bitcoin mining stocks or stocks in general, any cryptos on Coinbase, Robinhood. If I see no comments or requests in the next minute, then we'll say our goodbyes, and until next time. Beautiful day today. I need to go outside, maybe go for a jog or something. It's a Web3 streaming platform on Solana. All right. Yeah. So disclosure, kids, hate to say this because I might lose you, but I'll be honest. I don't touch the Solana altcoins, and so on my channel I try to take more of a trade investor approach as far as cryptos. Not a trader approach, but I like to look at coins that I believe have more, that the possibility isn't as big that they'll be scam or meme tokens like on Solana. There's a lot of trash on Solana, so I personally don't touch it. All right, all good. So thank you for coming by, though. But yeah, this is more of a medium to low risk channel. But if that was the chart, wish you best of luck. I hope you make some good money. I'll say that. On this channel, I try to take an educational and macro perspective approach. Because I see a lot of channels get into the weeds, talk about trading, talk about, the hype, the shilling, the FUD, the projects. Thank you for your time and effort to educate anyone online. God bless you. Right back at you, Jackson. You've already subscribed. Thank you for subbing, dude. Appreciate you being around. Jackson, have a great day down in Brazil. I am jealous here in Brazil. That is one of my favorite countries. Have a, what's the cocktail called? Have a caipirinha for me. Or is it called cachaca? I think the cachaca goes in the caipirinha. By the way, Brazil, I think the women are playing in the Olympic finals for beach volleyball and for soccer. Or the men are, I forget. But yeah, I think for soccer and volleyball. So, man, love the Brazilian swim bottoms, I'll say that. I just bought 3,500 Wolf and 3,000 Cypher. Hope it works out, man. Caipirinha. Yeah, God, I love caipirinha. I could use one right now. If it helps you feel better, Jackson, we're going to either celebrate together or suffer together because I have Wolf and Cypher as well. And for both our sakes, I hope I hope we see a bull run up here. But if things suck for you, they'll suck for me too, and I hope that gives you some level of assertiveness to rest assured that I'm not trying to steer anyone wrong here, and no one can. I'm a very harsh critic of myself, by the way. So when I get things wrong, I really try to never make those mistakes again and use those as learning experiences. But what I'm saying is, if any investment goes bad, I'm like, I feel no one can make me feel like a bigger idiot than me. And I try to dissect why that is, and we will win. I think long term, man, I don't know when the cycle top will be, if it'll be end of this year, as there's a lot of signs pointing to it. Let's finish with this because I'm seeing no other questions. Let's say we top in December. We're bear. Let's say we're typically bearish in September, start to come out of it October. Let's assume that happens. And then we start to go up in December or October to December. Let's say that is going to be an early cycle top. And by the way, does it not look, similar distance from the halving is here and here? Won't be as far out as 2017. But, if we get to December here, we got to target those orange bands. And you can see the yellowish orange to the orange, 110K to 185K. People don't, right now it seems like impossible that can happen, but you never know. Here's my thoughts on the current situation, with the markets. We had this big sell-off. Not even a week ago, the world was ending, the VIX was spiking, all that. And then it's like everyone already forgot about it. It's crazy. Kind of like the whole Trump thing recently at the rally. A week later, everyone forgot about it. And so I do wonder if we'll get a couple dips, but then, if things start to resume bullish, that all of a sudden the sentiment, again, we want to use emotion as an indicator, sentiment will be great. It'll be like, what? Rate cuts are coming, things are going up, the market handled a dip or two just fine. Things are great. The market's going to survive. It's going to do awesome. Ape in. And that'll super drive the markets into the end of this year, and then the rug pull happens. That's kind of like my gut keeps leaning towards something like that happening. But again, within 2 to 4 months of rate cuts, and for all we know, rate cuts are coming in September. 2 to 4 months from September is the end of this year. That lines up too. As I said, I didn't find the chart before the video, but I saw a chart that shows within 2 to 4 months of rate cuts, you get a good idea of which direction the market's going. And if it's going down, then the recession's well on the way, at least with the markets affecting the economy. But if it's going up, Does not mean a recession isn't coming, but it just means that the turnover is a little delayed, at least by half a year to a year. So by the end of this year, we're going to have a good idea of where we are going. And if it's peaking around that time, again, one of the top indicators for me is this Bitcoin dominance chart. If this starts tanking into the mid-low 40%, that is what you want to watch. As well as Tether dominance. If it's coming down to this trend line again, that's when we're getting near the end. But again, the Tether dominance came down, but Bitcoin dominance didn't. It's just been staying bullish, and now it's getting above my base case for where it needs to be. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get it up to 60. But then I think anytime after will be go time. All right, guys, going to close the video. Enjoy your Friday. Have a great day. Thank you for all the subs, the views, the comments. Appreciate you guys. Take care.